is up, everybody, and welcome to the Joe Kilgallon podcast, aka Kilgallon's Pub. I'm your host, handsome son of a bitch, Joe Kilgallon. I'm not feeling that handsome today. Actually, I got a great confidence boost the other night while shooting some pool. Maybe I'll get to that later. Maybe I won't. I'm not sure. But I do know this. I like to start off every episode with a little bit of gratitude. So wow, that burp had been holding in for so long. I'm so glad it finally came out. Have you ever had that? Some people have that with sneezes, where they're like, man, this sneeze just won't come. I feel it. Just won't come. With me, it's burps. I feel it right there in the jugular, in the throat. And then when it comes out, that was foul. That was a stinky one. Why? I ate healthy today. The only bad thing I ate was a cinnamon donut. Yeah, there's a little cinnamon in that. All right, but I like to start off every episode with a little bit of gratitude. So shout out to all the listeners, whether you listen to the audio, whether you watch on YouTube, you followed on Instagram, just watching the clips, all that good shit. All of it. I love you. Here I am giving you a big hug. I'm hugging you over. Sometimes I do the hug where I'll do an arm over your right shoulder and then my other arm underneath your left arm, right? And I bring you in. That way you could feel me chest to chest. You know what I mean? Like, fucking bring it in right here. You know what I mean? And I got to talk through my fucking teeth like this. Because I love you so much. Like, it seems like it makes me mad. Right? We're like, is this guy mad? No, I just fucking love you so fucking much, man. God, you know? That's how I like to hug. And sometimes I just go for a nice, warm, little soft hug. I'll do a side hug if I feel like you've hugged so many people where I'm kind of like, I don't feel as special, and you're not going to get one of the real ones. So I'll just like a little side hug, like bring it in. And I do that for really short people, I've noticed. There's something about hugging a short person where I'm like, I don't want to hurt you, right? You're tiny. I don't want to make you feel bad, right? You know? All right. Some of you watching on YouTube might know, new camera angle, new camera setup, improved the camera. Got a 4K camera. Looking all right in 4K. Wish I had better skin. But then I'm also got a new mic stand. So the mic was fucking up before. A very good listener friend messaged me saying that line, every time a butterfly queefed, the fucking mic cord would come out. Yeah, it was bad. I'm still worried about the mic cord. I thought it was the mic stand, and the mic stand is a million times better. Love this. But the cords are cheap. I could get a new cord because the cord's a little loose, I've noticed. I thought, again, I complained about that before and you guys were thinking, why don't you get a cord? I thought it wasn't the cord. Like, I thought it wasn't the cord's fault that the cord was loose. You feel me? But now I'm thinking it is because I was playing with it the other day. The Patreon episode got a lot of great reviews and people love the sound. So thank you. And I did get a listener who will go unnamed because they don't want to be named, who did help out. And I'm extremely grateful for you. Because after last week's episode, the frustrations came out because of my setup, but the setup feels good now. So I'm feeling elated. I'm in a good headspace. These last couple days, I feel like some things have turned. But yeah, so shout out to that person who will go unnamed. I respect wishes. I will not bring you up like that. Sorry, I just had to kick something out of the way. Little fly is flying around. So yes. I went on a rant. I said, if anyone can help me out, I will send them a dick pic, a penis pic. And they said, I will help you out, but the dick pic isn't necessary. And I kind of felt like, well, that's your loss then, because I take some good ones. I'm thoughtful, I'm delicate, and masculine but sensitive at the same time. There's a lot to the photo that most men don't put that thought into, right? And, it would have been a nice thing. You could have framed it. I wouldn't have been mine. I wouldn't have been mad. I wouldn't have been, maybe I cut my head off in it, though. That way when you have company, they're like, what's going on over here? And then you just go, I don't know. What is going on over here? And then you talk about it. And then you give them that type of hug I was talking about earlier. Like, get the fuck in here, right? All right, cool. Let's talk about some shit. It is the few days before Halloween episode of the Joe Kilgallon podcast. So shout out to all the people who love Halloween. I will be going trick-or-treating with the kids and going to a Halloween party at night. So I'll be able to do a Halloween recap for you for the bonus episodes. Halloween, by the way, a lot of people don't know the origins of Halloween. It's a Celtic holiday that was celebrated by the Scots and the Irish. I believe the Welsh somewhat too. The Welsh kind of get left out when talking about Celtic traditions, but mainly the Irish and the Scottish celebrated what is considered modern Halloween in America. It was called Samhain. I could be pronouncing that incorrectly. But shout out to the Irish for contributing Halloween to American culture. And also, well, I got to give Scottish too. So let me rephrase that. Shout out to the Irish and the Scottish for giving Halloween to the American culture. And the Irish, when you think about it, they gave us Halloween and they gave us St. Patrick's Day. Those are two massive holidays in the United States of America. Like, no disrespect to my English friends, but what have you given us? 4th of July. You gave us 4th of July. But still, 2-1. All right? So the Irish are winning on that front. But yeah, Halloween was one of those holidays where I loved as a child, as most children do. Right? There's just something fun about it. You could be spooky. You could be someone else. You're running around with your friends. There's so much excitement about how much candy you're going to get that you are running door to door. And there's always a parent being like, say thank you. And guess who that parent is now? Me. Constantly reminding him to say thank you. And one time I had to pull this shit. It was like the 11th house where I had to remind for a thank you. And I go, if I have to remind you to say thank you one more time, we're done. We are done. And then I remember thinking, who the fuck am I? Who have I become? But if I've become someone who gives a shit about the future, because you raise polite children, there's a domino effect to that. My daughter, 1 year old, if I hand her something, instinctively, thank you. Seriously, I could show you a video. That's for the Patreon. I can't be just sharing videos like that for the whole world to see. That's going to come at a cost. So you too could join the Patreon to see a polite daughter in action. Because again, there's so many things we can't control in this world. I've learned that the hard way many a times. And I've suffered. I've suffered through it. My own fault, often. And I now know that one thing you can control is your attitude towards the world. So that's what I'm trying to put more focus on. And I think I've always kind of known that in the back of my head, which is why I've always been adamant about my children being polite. Because again, it's not hard. It's 2 words. Thank you. Someone gives you candy. Thank you. Awesome. Hold the door open for people. What else do you do? Let someone in. Let them merge. Right? Well, there's certain rules though. Sometimes you got to size someone up and be like, I'm not letting you merge. There's no way you're not going to fuck this up. Right? So yeah, you have to pick and choose with that kind of thing. But yeah, Halloween, then, as you get to be a bit of a teenager, it becomes more about let's underage drink and throw shit at moving cars. Which reminds me, like, it's funny when I see people I know that I knew back then. When I see people I knew in high school now saying things like, oh, well, they should have came over here legally and you got to respect the law. I saw you guys break all the laws. That's all we did. We broke laws all the time in high school, right? You might be saying stuff like, they were innocent bullshit laws that teenagers always break. Sure. But again, you're picking and choosing what laws to follow, right? And if you're someone out there who's like, I follow every law, well, good for you, virgin. But it just makes me mad because I'm trying to really peel back the layers of this whole immigration issue that we have going on in America right now. And with immigration officers going all over Chicago, terrorizing people in other cities, not just Chicago, other cities, where it is fucked up, right? You're breaking into people's homes in the middle of the night. Your kids are getting dropped off at school. They get out of school. They're like, where the fuck's my mom and dad? And then another parent has to say, yeah, these agents threw them in the back of a van. They had masks on. They didn't really identify themselves either. Even Joe Rogan is starting to say some stuff about it. On his podcast, he talked about a good friend of his who's a 20-year Army veteran, a big-time contractor. He's going to Home Depot doing his thing as a big-time contractor. He's in the parking lot. A couple ICE agents go, hey, are you a citizen? And it's like, I am, but who the fuck are you to ask me that? Like, yeah, what have we become? So that part has made me a little bit bummed out, where all the things I learned about America and the promise of America, where America is an awesome country, has really kind of gone away. And there's a good section of the population doesn't seem to give a shit. You shouldn't have came here illegally. Oh, you shouldn't have came here in search of a better life, the thing that we promote worldwide to everyone. That's like the fucking brand, dude. That's the thing. America's the greatest country in the world. You can make it in America. Come here, land of opportunity. That was our thing. So when people couldn't get here the right way or snuck over, and again, I don't even know how a poor Mexican person, and sorry if I'm using Mexican because there's a lot of other ethnicities here too, how they come over legally. Right? We don't have an Ellis Island on the Rio Grande. You know what I mean? There's no fucking like way where you could just knock on a door and be like, like to come here now. Like, they don't do that. So because of that, they come in illegally and hope to find different channels once they're fucking here. Once they're here in the land of opportunity. And don't act like you don't enjoy it. Mexican food is awesome. And again, I'm picking Mexican for whatever reason. It's the border thing. It's just close by. Most of the Mexicans I know are legal citizens over here anyway. But who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck. If you told me, hey, they're all illegal, I don't care. Joe, but what if the illegal ones commit crime? Then arrest them. Do what we do with the fucking native-born criminals. You arrest them, right? Like, if I found out someone stole my car and they go, well, this guy stole your car. My first question is, was he a citizen? Where the fuck is he from? Oh, he's from St. Louis. Oh, well, fuck the Cardinals. But, all right, I can handle that. No, actually, Joe, he's an illegal immigrant from Denmark. Well, I wasn't seeing Denmark come. That's a little shocking. Well, now I'm really mad, though, because these fucking illegals. I don't care. Don't give a shit. Joe, what if they murder? Well, put them in jail, too. Right? I mean, that's unfortunate. I don't want people to murder. But in the same regard, I don't get this idea that you're just so fucking afraid all the time. And I really do think it's bullshit. I really do think it's one of those things where if they were all here legally, you'd find the reason to hate them for that. You'd be like, well, they don't assimilate. And then it's like, okay, well, what about the ones who are assimilating? Well, those ones are okay. Like, it's just like, fuck off. You have nothing better to do with your life. Because I know some of you are fucking ratting out there. I know some of you are snitching. Yeah. That's right. Then there's going to be fucking consequences for that. Trust me. One way or another, something's going to happen to these little snitches. We all know what happens to snitches. So it's like everything that the dudes, and it's not everyone. It's not all the guys. But like, I see a lot of it. Well, if they didn't want that, they should just follow the law. They should have came here like my grandparents did in 1833. Where when you walked off a boat, they threw a rock at you, but then they said, yeah, sign this. You're an American citizen. That's how fucking easy it was back then. Unbelievable. Like, they all act like it was some massive fucking challenge to become a citizen of the United States in the 1800s. Really? Fucking, like, the Irish came here and they were like, all right, sign this. You're now in the army. Go ahead. That'll speed up the citizenship process. But they got off boats. So it's kind of hard to sneak over from Europe. Did they do the backstroke? You guys all related to fucking Michael Phelps's family? Just dolphins coming across in waves. I feel like it's real virgin shit. And I know other countries across Europe are having that problem too. And it is funny to me that all the people I knew who made fun of the Polish growing up are now like, Poland did it right. I've got a lot of Polish friends. I grew up in the most Polish neighborhood in the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago, by the way, has more Polish people than every city in America except Warsaw. And even at one point, we were flirting with passing Warsaw. So my 8th grade graduating class had, of 100 kids, I think it was about 100 exactly, maybe 101, like 37 of them were born in Poland. And trust me, not all of their parents were legal. A lot of them flew over here and then just fucking overstayed their visa, right? And then they eventually had to figure out channels. But it's not, I don't know. It just makes me sad that people who I once respected get so bent out of shape out of this stuff. And it's really just billionaires trying to scare you and be like, oh, you think you know what the problem is? It's not me. I'm not the one fucking you over by hoarding resources and income inequality and me spending $200 million on elections. Think about how fucked up that is. These billionaires spending hundreds of millions of dollars on elections. Why would they do that if they didn't think that money would come back to them tenfold? Right? Right? You guys are always saying, follow the fucking money. You're not fucking following it, are you? Are you? You stupid fucks. These people. I'm telling you right now. Oh, well, then they're going to come over and they're going to take their culture. Maybe your culture is fucking weak and shitty if a bunch of immigrants could come over and reshape it instantly. You know how long that fucking takes? It takes a long fucking time. Okay? And if it's a shitty aspect of the culture, it's not going to fucking survive if your culture's strong enough. Remember fucking 12 years ago when everyone's like, they're going to bring Sharia law to America. All the people who were scared of that because they listened to their billionaire overlords, if you asked them what Sharia law was, they couldn't fucking tell you other than they make you wear a burqa. That's what they would say. And look, I'm not saying like there's aspects of all those cultures that I'm crazy about. I'm not. but I'm not fucking afraid of the boogeyman like you are. You know why? Because I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, and I go, God damn it, you're a handsome fuck. That's what I do. And you look in the mirror and you think, man, I'm dumb and ugly. How the fuck? Not my listeners, though. Not my viewers. You guys are great. Sorry, I got sidetracked again. I really did. I got to stay off fucking Facebook. I got to stay off of it. Because now it's starting because of all the stuff that's going on in Chicago and in the United States of America right now, it's bringing out the woodwork where I'm starting to get into little debates with people I never got into debates with. I shared a Robert F. Kennedy. This woman was critiquing a speech of his, and I heard the speech, and it was bizarre. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I always have to throw the junior. I hate when people say RFK without throwing on the junior. His father was a great man from everything I've read about him, as far as leadership and what he saw for the future. His son, though, I don't know what the hell. Maybe the worm did eat his brain. I mean, this guy admitted it. He goes, the worm ate my brain, and we still listen to this shit he says after that. So this dude, RFK Jr. says, teenage boys in the year 2025 have half the sperm count and half the testosterone, which, by the way, are not equal. You could be full of testosterone and have a shitty sperm count and vice versa. They're not, like he said, them interchangeably. So I think that's how that was. But anyway, I heard his speech. Take the testosterone part of it. He said, teenage boys today, RFK Jr. said teenage boys today have half the sperm count they did in the 1960s. And what made that instantly when I heard that think, what did he just say? How would they know that? How would they know that? The only way to know that is every doctor and scientist I know who now has a living of combating him, and they have to. They don't want to do that. They don't want that to be their second gig, but they spent a lifetime studying medicine and science, and now they have to go back against a guy who's one of the supposed leading voices now in our government about this. The only way to know that is if in the 1960s we had teenage boys going into doctors' offices and jerking off in cups, and we kept that data. And then we had boys in the last couple years also going into doctors' offices and jizzing in freaking cups. And now we're comparing them. That's a whole new level of what the fuck. And there are people who are going to believe it because they'll see some teenagers at their local mall who don't look the way they want teenagers to look, right? Because they'll see the big, what do they got now? These perms these dudes got. Teenage boys are doing something. When I was growing up, 1 or 2 people out of 30 had curly hair. Now I'll see groups of 30 people with all curly hair. They're doing something. You're not fooling us, teenage boys. But yeah, they'll see these guys and just be like, oh, they're no. And the thing is, teenagers, as far as I can tell, especially with Gen Z, they act just the same way as any teenage group I've seen, at least in my lifetime. They might dress a little bit differently. The only thing is they're not homophobic as much as you used to be, or as much as you'd probably like them to be, you being the idiots I'm talking about, not my wonderful listeners. They're, probably wearing colorful clothing more. I don't know. I don't know. They probably just have more short shorts are back. I noticed that. I didn't want to notice that. It's hard not to notice that, though. I didn't see a man's kneecaps for the first 35 years of my life. Now I'm seeing kneecaps all over the place. Seeing dudes' upper thighs. I don't want to see it. I said, I can't believe these are back. And then my lady friends were like, yeah, we like thick thighs too. And what? And I was like, I'm not arguing with you. I will now work out my thighs. Fuck. Skipping leg day for 25 years really backfired. It's just one of those things where I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, let's shift gears. Shall we? I keep crossing my arms, and if anyone who's watching this on YouTube thinks it's a body language thing, it's not. I'm a little chilly. The temperature dropped recently, and I did not adjust the heat for that. So there you go. But yeah, let's go back to Halloween a little bit. I went through the timeline. When you're a kid, running around, going door to door, don't forget to say thank you. Teenage years, you're just causing chaos, right? Chucking eggs, throwing bricks, whatever you could do. Drinking, smoking. Smoke anywhere like. It's a quote from something very obscure that no one's going to know what it's from. And then you get into your late teens, early 20s. That's when you start sneaking into the bars, maybe some costume contests. Dudes try to look just fucking cool as shit. Girls just try to show a lot of skin, and I am here for it. Here for it. Why not? Get after it. It's that time. It's that time. Shake the ass. Show some cleave. We talked about this on the last episode. Boobs are going to be the cure-all. Breasts, they're gonna help. And I say have some fun with it. Don't let anyone slut shame you, ladies. If you want to be a sexy construction worker, why not? If you want to be a sexy librarian, if you want to be a sexy Starbucks employee, I'm trying to think of more modern jobs. If you want to be a sexy Uber driver, I'm here with it. I don't know what that would look like. What would a sexy Uber driver look like? I've had a couple of lady Uber drivers. Don't know if I'd say they were attractive. But a sexy Uber driver, she just driving the car being like, how you doing? Cool. You cool with this radio station? Great. There's bottles of water back there too if you need it. All right. It's important to hydrate. And she's just no pants. Is that what a sexy Uber driver would look like? So it's her own little secret. She's wearing just maybe like a button-up shirt, like a men's button-up. Thong panties, no pants. Where did I go? Anyway, so yeah, I think that could be a sexy Uber driver. What other modern jobs could you put sexy in front of? Sexy dog walker. That might be pretty good. Sexy protester. Ooh, I like that. You just have a sign and then your boobs are out. Right there. Just like a big sign that says release the Epstein files, and then you release these. And I think that would make people be like, we got to release these damn files. Or, you know what? I wonder if we should do something like that. That's how we get their files released. We get all the mouth-breathing dudes. We tell them, all the top OnlyFans people, they're going to go free for the next 30 days if you sign the petition to release the Epstein files. Then I think the government would have to adhere to this. That'd be pretty good. All right, so then with Halloween, you know what else was stupid with Halloween? Growing up, they always ran commercials, and they had these weirdo adults make us think that people were trying to give us drugs via the candy. And then you got older and you realized nobody would do that. Why would anyone give away drugs? Free drugs to 9-year-olds? And you're not even going to be around to watch those 9-year-olds be stoned? That's the fun of it. I imagine... I don't know where I went with that, but I was thinking to myself, if you're going to drug someone and they don't know they're being drugged, wouldn't part of the allure be to let's see how fucking dumb this guy's about to get, Yeah, you wouldn't do that. I don't know. Poison, that could be something I could see some really bad people doing, but it's unlikely. If you feel around and you're like, these are all wrapped, right? It's not like people are taking bare chocolate. Someone's just here's unwrapped chocolate, all for the children. And you know what houses to avoid. You know what houses have the weirdos, right? You live in a neighborhood, you kind of understood. I always knew this one lady who I didn't care for. We skipped her house every year. This old lady, we called her the old lady because we were little, and that's what you called people. She lived like 3 apartment buildings over from me. And me and my friends would play baseball on the block. And every now and then, a baseball would either... No, by the way, we played with a tennis ball. All right, we had metal bats, but a tennis ball, so you could really jack those fuckers. But, you couldn't break a window with it. We were like 8 to 10 years old. And every now and then the ball would roll up on her lawn or hit her building, and she would just come out like the dingbat that she was. Great word, by the way. And just be like, eh. And it was annoying. And I'll never forget the one time my dad was like coming home he was walking back from going to the store nearby, and he saw her yelling, and he was like, shut up, they're kids. And I remember being like, that was awesome. And then she started screaming at my dad, and my dad was like, all right, I'm going to pitch, all-time pitcher. And then he had us turn where we were batting so that any ball we hit was going to go right off her house. God, that guy was fucking awesome. Son of a bitch. Why do the cool people always have to die before you're ready for them to die? Yeah, we did that. We really did. Did I tell about this story on the podcast? I had these older kids down the street from me. Yeah, they were bullies. They bullied me. I got bullied by these kids when I was like 6 and 7, and they were like 10. That's a difference, by the way. And they would bully me and throw snowballs at me and make life hard. And that was back in the era when parents would just like, go outside, play. So I had to be out there, right? By the way, one of them's dead, so that's what you get for fucking with me. I didn't kill him, but karma came into play. He died young, in his 30s. Actually, I ran into them when I was in my 20s, and I was like a foot taller than both of them and just so much handsomer. So I just kind of thought like, You guys have a shitty life now. I don't even need, because I thought about doing the whole Goodwill Hunting thing. It's like, hey, remember me? You used to beat me up in kindergarten. I just started fucking wailing on them, and I could have. Because I ran into one of them at a 24-hour diner at like 2 in the morning when I was with some of my friends eating French toast. And I said, that's that dude. And then they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. There's no backstory to this. You just said that's that dude. And then I had to tell them everything. And then the guy almost left because his check came. And I started to stand up. And when I stood up, I realized, oh, this dude is 5'5". I'm almost 6'2". I can't beat up a man who's 5'5". And I'm not knocking my short king friends out there. You guys are good people. But it's a bad look if someone that much taller than you just starts beating the shit out of you in a diner. People are eating eggs going, what's happening? Why is this giant man beating up this wee man? Nobody would like it. But anyway, I don't know if I told this story. They threw a bunch of snowballs at me, and I was by myself building an igloo or something. And my dad looked out the window and saw that. So he gets his boots on, his shoes on, and he goes, come on. And they see him right away. And my dad was a big fucker. So they ran. My dad and I picked a bunch of snowballs, walked them over. I mean, we made in front of our house, 15 to 16 snowballs, had them in our arms, cradling them, walked about 5-6 buildings down, and just started fucking pelting them off their windows. Hard, too. Then their mom came out, and my dad just missed her because then she shut the door real fast. He said, damn, almost got the bimbo in the head. And I remember being like, never heard the word bimbo before, but I liked it. And guess what? You don't really hear the word bimbo too much anymore. It would have been pretty cool. And I know you're thinking, you don't throw snowballs at a woman, but this woman raised cunty little kids. So maybe she deserved a snowball in the face, and then she would have realized, oh, I shouldn't have raised my kids to be so cunty. And then I know what you're thinking, well, where was the dad? Well, the dad was some fucking lunatic who fell off a building, I remember someone telling me. And I was so little, I didn't understand it. They were like, yeah, he lost his balance. And I kept thinking, well, how do you lose your balance? What does that even mean? I really thought he lost it. No, he just fell off a fucking building. He's probably up there thinking, oh, God, I can't wait for work to be over. But then, I got to go back to my cunty kids. That sucks. He was a short fuck, too. I should have known back then that if you're a short fuck, you end up having short fuck kids. And again, not coming down on short people. But if you raise shitty kids, then I'm going to attach your disability of being short onto that. Being short is not a disability. I'm sorry I said that. That was incorrect and impolite. You know what my problem is though right now? I'm going to do this for the next episode. Damn, am I 37 minutes in? Oh, 27 minutes in. Holy shit. For the next episode, I'm going to have a clock though, because I have to keep hitting my computer to understand what I'm doing. So as long as it sounds good for the audio and it looks fine on the visual, we're getting there. But I'm happy and I'm feeling great. Well, 27 minutes in. I feel like I talked about enough, right? A little Halloween stuff. Favorite Halloween traditions. I haven't gone to a haunted house in a really long time. Those could be fun. Halloween slasher movies, you get to an age and they're not as much fun because you need a good story. Because you hit an age, you're like, I know what's going to happen. Right? They're eventually going to get this guy, but is he dead? Dun, dun, dun. And then they make a sequel. Nobody writes a Halloween slasher movie in hopes that we're going to be one and done. No, you got to leave room for the future. We all know that. I had some other rants I was going to go on, but I feel like I ranted enough. So I think I kind of want to do some things where I start giving positive shout outs to people, both in my life and people I see in the world that I think are doing good things. So I'd like to do that. One, I'd like to give a shout out to my son, Matthew. Maybe he'll listen to this one day. I asked him something in a way that wasn't the most polite on my part. I didn't yell at him or anything, but he kind of stuck up for himself in a way that I was like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. And then he was like, okay. And then we were cool. I can't remember what the exact thing was. It was so minuscule, but I remember a couple days later being like, damn, that was awesome. I love the way he stuck up for himself there, or felt he had to stick up for himself, even if it was a case of a little misunderstanding. He didn't raise his voice. He was very firm, and I just thought, hell yeah. So, Matthew, one day I hope you hear this. Ignore a lot of the other stuff I say. It's hard talking by yourself. And no, I love you, and I think you're incredible. And then what else do I want to give a shout out to? Here's some comedians to watch. Sarah Perry and Blake Burkhart are both going to be in the St. Louis area this weekend, which I just was a few weeks ago. Blake will be at the St. Charles Funny Bone, and Sarah Perry will be at the Westport Funny Bone in Maryland Heights, which is a little suburb outside of St. Louis, I believe. And they're amazing comics. So if you're in that area, definitely go check them out. I recently caught up with my comedian friend Megan Gailey. Watch her stuff on YouTube. I haven't seen her in a while, and she's just kind of getting back into comedy after having her second child and after her great father passed away, who was a guy I was a big fan of. always had wonderful conversations with. So that was a bummer. I think I mentioned that on a couple podcasts ago when I went to the funeral or the wake or whatever you'd call it. So yeah, check them out. She had a really couple lines that just floored me. I won't give them away. Look her up on YouTube. All right. Thanks everyone for listening to the podcast. If you want to check out the Patreon, one bonus episode a week will be down that. And then I throw out some lists and some other fun stuff like that. Just put up an episode like a couple days ago. So there'll be one up by the weekend. And yeah, just thanks guys. I love doing this. I'm having a great time and I've been feeling really optimistic and I hope you are in your life as well. And as always,